There it is, from Sector 1 to Orglis to Blackmamba Esports. Though we'll have a quicker chat about our map again, as the lobby is pretty much ready with both of our teams. And there it is, all maps down. Oregon is going to be played. The Mamba is going to bite away Cafe Dostoevsky to set us a bit of the poison that is Oregon, some may call it. It's not Villa, like we saw in APAC Villa.
Oh, thank God.
Here we are. All right, you know what? Since our match is ready, we're just going to toss it over to our casters. Jess and Des, thank you so much for giving us all the explanation about these two teams and Challenger League in general. If you guys have any questions, please make sure to toss them in the chat or on social media. Homeless versus Orglis. No longer Orglis as Blackmamba. Gio and Dev that'll take us through our first game. Enjoy.
Thanks, Milosh. Dev, I feel like so much of explaining these teams is all the different org changes that they've gone through, and that's part of the magic of Challenger League, is constantly looking for that new home, the new team to look after you. As they said on the desk, if you want to pick up a team, you go for Homeless. But these two teams, both of whom are requiring some more wins on the board, and we'll be looking to do that today.
Very much so. This should be a great game, though. I think this is really promising. I think, yet to see the full potential of Blackmamba, formerly Homeless, as they've really struggled so far in Challenge League. But keep in mind, the three teams that they've faced so far, Kavana, Penta, and M&M, arguably the three strongest in the entire of Challenger League. So this should be a great chance for these guys on their debut with the new branding, I guess you could say, with that new organization, to really punch above their weight and get that first win on the board. On the flip side of that, Homeless have had a mixed set of results so far. Got smashed by Penta in the first week, took down Be Kind, a fairly, I guess you could say, relatively weak opponent here in the Challenge League. So that's a good win. A win is a win. But then they upset and took down Kavana, which was huge. So this is definitely going to be, I think, a much closer game than either of these teams have seen so far in CL.
Yeah, I think Homeless particularly have kind of been that rising star throughout the competition so far. Back in week 1, we had a lot of doubts about them when they got 7-2'd by Penta. We thought, this might not be a team to look out for. And now all of a sudden, they're in 3rd place in this group. Now, kicking things off with the ban phase, we've had a Thatcher, a Monty, a Wamai, and now Mira.
There you go. So this is basically really standard bans. In terms of the meta at the moment, banning out Thatcher just makes things much more difficult for the attack. In terms of wall denial, you have to get a bit more creative. You have to either bring the Kali or the Maverick or deal with any wall denial a bit more of a creative way. Thatcher's also multifaceted. You can disable ADSs, which enables you to destroy shields easier. Instead, we're going to see that Wamai ban come through, which is something that's been rising in popularity across Rainbow Six Esports globally. It just makes it much easier for the attackers, especially with Thatcher gone, to dispatch with particularly those shields. You only have to burn through ADSs, not those magnets as well. The Mirror also really strong in terms of, particularly on that basement objective, just creating those strong anchor positions. And so I think overall really normal. The Monty is the only one that sticks out here. Personally, I don't actually recall Homeless really leveraging that Monty. Now I can go and check out the stats on good old CGG, and I'm going to go in and Homeless. I don't see any of the maining Monty. I personally haven't seen much Monty from this team, so I guess you could say it's a target ban. Maybe it's even just a comfort ban here for Blackmamba.
I think something that you can definitely tell is a targeted pick is Blackmamba's choice to bring Nomad. Now, she's certainly not too rare on this site particularly, but one of the things that Homeless have been able to do over the last few weeks is hone in their aggression that was previously rather uncontrolled and a bit opportunistic, and they've forced it into this more channeled, more disciplined way of using the aggression. And in a lot of cases in their game against Kavana, we saw them influencing the decisions that Kavana made in their gameplay, specifically to avoid falling victim to a lot of that. So bringing Nomad, I think, is going to be particularly useful to go against that kind of playstyle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you think this Polish team are Homeless, you think aggression, right? It's what they're kind of known for. Mexus in particular often popping off, but we've seen the entire roster come to life in the kill feed and go for those aggressive roams, aggressive peaks. At the moment, it's actually a full turtle strategy. You can see all 5 players on the bomb site, and I think that's are representative of what you just mentioned, that maybe them playing a little bit more restrained now. And I think that's the right decision here. This is a reasonably aggressive anchor setup, though. You can see Mexus has the shield just in Boiler facing into blue. And that means that you've got 2 shields facing into blue, and it'll be quite difficult for Blackmamba to flush them out. They'll have to expend quite a bit of utility here. At the moment, it's just the Sophia in that position, and I like this. At the moment, the Maverick of MK is starting to open up that hatch in meeting, and that's going to just bit by bit start to pressure on the player in Boiler and anyone trying to peek into Electrical, which is the room just under this hatch. I think it's the right decision, and it'll enable Blackmamba to then pressure blue afterwards.
You can tell that Foster's ready. He's not quite in pillar, but should anyone jump down, he'll be ready. You've also got 2 players on the back stairs that he can look out for, but you may see him retreat down towards the freezer should it be required. There's a flashbang coming out. That'll get Mexus, and they should be able to dispatch with the shield as well, but he's going to get ready for the players on the stairs, but he looks away. And that's 2 kills going to Homeless as they fight back, and there's the C4 onto Josh.
Wow, everything certainly turned up in the space of about 10 seconds. I believe that reinforcement was elbow, and that tells us that Homeless have decided to back off and forfeit blue control just to kind of bunker down on the site a bit more. Duco, pretty zealous here with, well, quite a lot of time still on the clock. He's going to go for the peak. He wins that fight onto the lit up Goyo. Now this 2 versus 3 is quite winnable here. You'll notice Reba on the defensive side, the only one full HP, but he makes it count and he takes down Duco. Bashed against 3 players, makes it 2, but he can't stand against the might of the SMG-11 and Homeless to secure that first defense.
Some aggression taken quite decently there from Blackmamba Esports, but maybe weren't quite thorough enough in clearing what they had to, knowing that Homeless, regardless of being put in some difficult positions, was still able to turn it around. Notably, when Mexus very nearly missed his shots and actually got punished for it, there was still the opportunity for the refrag that was present there, and Homeless made that engagement turn around in their favor. At that point, if you're Blackmamba, they decided to continue and commit on with that engagement. But at that point, you're still at the disadvantage. The C4 came out, you're significantly weakened, and you've pushed yourself onto the site. You just have to keep going.
Yeah, really early engagements there. Something that we also often see when it comes down to kind of that execute onto Boiler, blue, and from the rear stairs. Like, everyone dies in the space of just a second or 2. I think it was 10 seconds from that first engagement, that first kill to come through from hours at 123. And then by 110, it was a 2 versus 4 for the attack of Blackmamba. So, yeah, Homeless definitely brought things to life. And it really does come down to, in those explosive moments, you've got to make sure you can get all your refrags back. Like, whoever initiates that first gunfight and gets the first kill, you need to make sure that if you are that team, as long as you refrag out the final kill, then you will have a numbers advantage. And I definitely think that's what happened there for Homeless. On top of that, they reinforced themselves up in sight as well and forfeited elbow, which further just cemented them in the bomb site and meant that after Blackmamba took that blue control, they can't use it. So really well played here for Homeless. And of course, Oregon defense, you would expect quite a few to slip their way. But nonetheless, it's good to start strong.
Well, it's going to be Foster who's playing down below. I was wondering if they were going to send Hours downstairs. It's something that we've seen teams like Rogue do in the past, where they have the Goyo on the downstairs roam. He can be present there with the C4, especially underneath in Classroom, to deny any push that could come in for the games room wall. But instead, he's going to be present upstairs in Attic. Foster pushing to get aggressive here. There is a few players just on the other side of the wall to him. There's an impact, and he might be able to pressure them as they attempt to open up the attic wall.
I do quite like this impact grenade and this vertical angle. The Maverick trick, line at the top, line at the bottom, does remove the reinforced panel on the wall, the sledge, to deal with what was left. Really nice here, and Foster, he's just waiting for someone to peek that. He'll spot the drone. He should have spotted the drone. He can call that out to his team, but he's hoping that someone peeks it. That sledge has absolutely no idea, but Duco finds the first kill regardless onto Hours. And Foster's still waiting here, unaddressed at the moment, and he has that Banshee to support him. It really comes down to when Skeptic starts to push on through, but surely this is the point where he meets his demise. Indeed, Foster holding that angle from below, Blackmamba completely underwear.
Now he has the opportunity to rotate right out as the Nomad was still left there. It means that he's likely not going to be able to use the back stairs to retreat back or to make his way back upstairs, catch him out from behind. But in saying that, Josh is incredibly low health, and now he's also very trepidatious about this situation he's found himself in because they don't necessarily know if it's clear below, and you can tell that he's droning in now. There's the Goyo shield removed from dorms. And now Blackmamba should be looking to continue on with opening up the games room wall. But you can tell Duco is just trying to be sure that no one's going to be caught from below, just like what happened last time.
Foster's still roaming downstairs. Might come into effect in the late game. Doesn't have a C4 as we saw use impacts earlier. But how's the execute going to look? That reinforced wall, actually, the Maverick trick didn't quite work out. I'm not quite sure which spot was missed. You've got to do a line at the top and a line at the bottom. As long as you make it... I can't quite see with the compression on my video feed. But, yeah, unfortunately, that's going to mean that Blackmamba can't enter through there. They're going to file up the white stairs, but Bashed does open things up. A numbers disadvantage suddenly swings the other way, but it's a gunfight that is so messy. Mexus, the solo player alive, already a 2K to his name. It's a messy fight, but it does go his way at the end. And that is Homeless, a very close for comfort end, but a round win on the board nonetheless.
A really big reason the Mexes had the space to be able to secure that 3K at the end was because Josh, who'd moved over to Big Window, was taken out by Foster right before Blackmamba made the push in. That means that you don't have the angle coming in that you can pressure that player behind the bunk beds, I guess. Is there a easier way to say it? The beds. In that corner you typically get pressured from. Foster had gone all the way up to office in the top of small tower. He could jump straight out, catch Josh out. Mex has had a lot of room to work with. Obviously, some of it comes into the fact you've just got to be good at hitting your guns or hitting your shots, sorry. We already know Mexus can do that. It gave him the space he needed, and Homeless took the round.
Yeah, I really like this. I know it's kind of a stereotype, right? There's these aggressive teams. You expect them to just be running around like headless chickens a lot of the time, peeking everything, but that's not what we're seeing from Homeless here, not at all. Despite them having that reputation for being an aggressive team, they knew that they had the advantage, right? At the end of that round, Blackmamba didn't have a way to enter in from the master closet and then into execute to games. They had to desperately just push up because Homeless were just sitting on site, patiently holding their angles. Max is ready to take some ones, and they just won. Like, if you have good aim, you don't need to be aggressive with it. You could be an anchor with good aim and just win your ones when it comes down to that last execute. That's exactly what happened for Homeless, and it worked out just well. But the challenge is only going to get more difficult for them. That round, of course, did come down to a 1 versus 1. And now that they're going to their tertiary bomb site, things are going to heat up. Interesting here, Reaper's going to reinforce both walls. This is coming more and more into the meta. I can't remember which game it was, whether it was EUL or APAC, but Gio, we discussed this last week at some point, or maybe it was earlier this week. I don't know. Everything blends into one on a schedule like this. But reinforcing both walls of showers into dining means if you're in dining, or in showers rather, you can't deny plants in dining. But it does mean that once the attackers eventually get that control, there's less they can do with it.
Definitely something that we've been seeing more of lately, and whether it will work out in the favor of Homeless remains to be seen. This time it's going to be hours taking place on the Malusi, likely so that he has the option to impact trick onto the showers wall. There's the first attempt as the ex-Kairos tried on the wall, and it was successful.
Very nice. Still got 2 impacts. This is very much the meta at the moment for a lot of European teams. Just stacking 2 operators who have impacts, ready to impact trick, and that's the 3rd out of 4 impacts gone. Survives the flashbang. How much hard breach is there left on Duco? I think he's all out. There you go. So all 3 impacts have been successful thus far. The only impact remaining is Mickey's. I'm told it's pronounced Mickey. MXKX. Oh, a nade to come through. Does get rid of the shield. Foster's still alive with the Alder in hand. Might be able to do some damage. We could see the Maverick try and breach this wall. And if there is no breach on the wall, it's going to be really difficult to flush out Foster, but of course it's so difficult to get up close and personal with that breaching torch of the Maverick. All these drones have been forfeited now, and the nade to come through still doesn't get it. Eventually the player has been dispatched with.
Oh, it took Blackmamba quite a lot of time and utility to get control, but now this is where you see those reinforcements come to play as Ours was ready to collect the kill. once the player moved in through to the corridor, he's just going to keep shooting in. And Blackmamba realized that they may have to go a different direction. There's a trade out. Hours loses his life for the efforts, but less than a minute is remaining, and Blackmamba is still yet to push into the site.
I actually do favor Blackmamba here. In this 3 versus 3, they've got some good positions. They've got good control. My concern is there's only that one drone left up from Ash, but I don't think they're going to be able to drone these players. Oh no, if they had, maybe they wouldn't have just fed Mexus. He's so hungry right now, and he's just found a 2K spraying through the wall, but Royal finishes the round. A beautiful 3 versus 3 to a 3 versus 0. Homeless remain composed on their defense.
I love that we're seeing Mexus on the Jaeger getting those end kills. Very typically, you'll see, Jaeger be involved in most of the earlier engagements because typically you think Jaeger, he's on a roam, he's looking for the early picks. This time they keep Mexus back and he's ready to clear up at the end when it's required, when you've just got to finish the round up. And it's been consistent and it's been working. And having that the site set up so that when Blackmamba moved into showers, they had to be funneled through essentially another choke point where you're going to be having defenders down at the bottom of the stairs or in the security corridor, that general area. You may have someone upstairs looking down through the hatch. And they're losing drones at the same time, so they don't necessarily know the exact locations of those defenders. It's a very difficult route to traverse if you have to move in through that rotate hole to even go forward. A difficult situation for Blackmamba, who now find themselves on a 0-3 scoreline.
Yeah, difficult position to be in. One thing I would like to kind of touch on just for a second is we were talking a lot about the showers hold there, and yeah, 3 out of 3 impact tricks is really nice there for Homeless. I feel like Blackmamba kind of shooting themselves in the foot, where they are bringing 2 hard breaches, but one of them being the Maverick. You're probably not going to breach that showers wall with the Maverick. I can't remember which team it was this week we saw try that. It was either in APAC North or EU. Well, it all blends into one. But they tried to Maverick the wall to expose that position, and then they actually got impacted down to about 40 HP because of it. If Blackmamba were bringing an ace as well, which I remind you is unbanned, then they would have had 3 Selmas and 3x Kairos. That's 6 total, and you only have the 4 impacts, so they would have definitely been able to breach that main wall. We've seen a lot of teams on this map run 3 hard breaches, to my recollection. I think we've seen BDS do it before, and Secret as well, if I recall correctly. I'm surprised that we're not seeing that, but perhaps... Well, maybe Blackmamba can show they don't need it, but they're going to have to start to get some attack wins on the board to prove me wrong.
Yeah, and, once again, Homeless have invested in a relatively aggressive defensive stance at the start. Blackmamba obviously aware that last time Homeless did have that one player roaming around, and it looks like they've positioned themselves to try and deal with that and cut off any rotations that could be made as Bashed is outside the main door.
First player to fall last time around was Mickey, actually, the Maverick opening the hatch. I think it was a C4 up from Skeptic, if I recall correctly. See if he can survive this time. There you go. Foster might try and toss up a C4. No. Mickey's, you can see, much more cautious about this angle through the hacks. Wow. Nexus has gone aggressive, placing down a late ADS, gets punished for it. I like the idea, but Duco is ready for it. And that is the early man advantage. Once again gone, though. Skeptic goes down.
Still holding on to Freezer, but look, it looks like Maverick's going to start trying to open up the hatch, and instead he scatters, realizing the risk wasn't quite worth it. And he'll be joined by Josh once again on the Nomad to try and take control from behind. There's the attempt at the C4, but it was just slightly too far away. Mickey teasing with the nade, but they just want to be sure that everything's cleared out before they want to commit to it. In it goes, but looks like Ours is just too far away to die to it. And in the meantime, Foster and Reba will be getting kills for themselves. Once again, Homeless find themselves in an advantageous position as Reba gets yet another. With only one left, Homeless take their fourth defending round.
Was that a 3K with the FMG9? Smoke players unite. Get off the shotguns. Make your mute player run that. I want to take the FMG9 and clean house like Reba does. That was something else, that certainly was. And as you said it, 4 rounds in a row for the Polish squad. They've certainly made their mark here against Blackmamba, and they've come out with a fiery vengeance on their defensive half. Of course, we talk about this a lot. Oregon should, in theory, be somewhat defensive favored, but losing 4 in a row, that's my concern. Typically, you'd win 2 defenses in a row, you go to your tertiary bomb site, and that's where you start to look weak. But Mex has said, no, I don't care. We're gonna win our tertiary bomb site anyway. Now they've doubled down, won that laundry bomb site twice, and Homeless are in such a strong position to take this half 5-1 or even 6-0, putting Blackmamba in just a terrible position and a difficult one to claw back from.
We have to remember, of course, it was said at the start, but Blackmamba still haven't found a single win in Challenger League so far this stage. They're currently sat in 6th place here in Group B. You need to be in the top 4 if you have a hope of moving on forward. And because the time is starting to run out as to how much is left of the stage, they can't afford to be getting any more losses. Meanwhile, Homeless feel like they're on the complete other side of that. Yes, they had a disappointing first play day, but they just look so much more disciplined and put together the longer Challenger League goes on.
Definitely starting to look grim, but at least we're seeing some things change. Surely Mexus can't find this. Surely not. Oh no, he does so much damage. Did Skeptic pre-aim that? I don't know how Skeptic survived. So lucky, and Mexus again almost caught off guard. Did I see that right? Has Mexus yet to die this entire match? Is he 5-0 right now? 5-2.
No, he's 5-2.
My bad. I got a bit too excited. I will touch on the operator changes. The elephant in the room, stomping around and swearing at you with the shield in front of her face, is Foster playing the Clash. That's to hold out Attic. Remember that last time this bomb site was defended, the first player to die was actually ours in Attic. So I like this adaptation, but also on the flip side, Homeless have brought the Yana and the IQ instead of the Nomad and the Sledge. Same number of nades overall, but less flashbangs. Maybe that IQ will help them find those electric claws.
And they may need it. They did have Attic denied to them pretty well last time. Bashed coming in through Armory. This means that he might have the opportunity to sneak up behind some of those players. It also means he can support those who will be going for the games room wall. Just clearing out some of the ADS as well. Now, they've had the Clash pinged out, or at least that's what it looks like. So, could be a better opportunity, but Mexus will actually be the first to fall, as Duco was off on the anti-roam to collect him, but Royal was ready. Didn't quite secure the kill. That's going to be hours actually getting it, but there's the withstand from Duco. Royal just moves straight on up to secure that kill. And Homeless continue on or not.
That's a great angle there, Bash. Great awareness there, and another good shot here with the R4C. This has suddenly turned into a 3 versus 2. What was a 3 versus 4, and the Yana Gemini to go forth and spot out that Clash player. What Blackmamba really need to do here is isolate these players. Foster puts the shield onto his back so he can take some fights with the SMG. These have to be 1v1s for Homeless to make it work. Bash finds another 3 kills with that R4C, and Mickey to close out the round onto the Clash. Finally, Gio, they do find their first attack round.
Oh, they're definitely going to be feeling better after that one, and I think the early kill onto Mexus was a really pivotal moment, despite the fact that Juco did then get taken out. And you can tell how much Homeless are living in the heads of Blackmamba that they had to spend so much time going down and hunting him out. That means that you didn't have things like the lifelines available to you, which then going up against the Clash, that's a really vital piece of utility that you would want to have in those situations. And Blackmamba had to work around that to ensure that this really big threat on the side of Homeless wasn't there. But regardless, they secure themselves the round, and Homeless will be returning to the same site, not satisfied with that, and not wanting to go to the tertiary. And I'd say that given that they've won it at least once before, they probably aren't going to feel too phased by it. Even if Blackmamba are to take this round, Homeless is still in a decent position in a 4-2 half.
One thing I do wonder is this attic control. It's been a bit of a struggle here for Blackmamba to control. They're continually bringing this Kaid, despite Blackmamba always doing that Maverick trick, which essentially nullifies the Kaid. So I'm a bit surprised that we haven't seen that be an operator change from Homeless's perspective. Instead, they get Foster, rotate off of the Malusi, which was the first time we defended this bomb site, onto the Clash, now back onto the Malusi. I feel like you may as well just get rid of the Kaid. It's not doing anything for you. They're not even bringing any hard breach anymore that isn't that Maverick. I can't remember who was playing the Hibana before. I can't remember exactly who it was, but it just seems like a bit of a wasted operator choice here for Homeless. And I mean, you could bring just about anything and it'd help you even a little bit more, whether that be a Lesion if you want to help try and hold on to that vertical control for longer and prevent that the attackers entering downstairs, or a smoke. Like, there are so many options here that I think Homeless could have chosen instead.
Well, we'll have to see if it's going to work. Once again, Foster down below with the impacts. This did catch out at least one player of Blackmamba pretty definitively last time he attempted this, but now they'll know of the hole in the floor and probably be too aware to not let that happen to them. But it will still apply some pressure, and that could give Foster more room to make rotations around, come up from behind, surprise Blackmamba. But once again, they have sent in the anti-roam. There's 2 roamers downstairs they'll have to deal with, and 3 players up in Big Tower to try and clear out ours and the shield behind which he was hiding.
Yeah, I like this. 2 roamers downstairs, but neither of which have a C4. So it's going to be quite difficult for them to deny plant late round. There's also not really much info gathering on the Homeless side. So if it comes down to like a plant scenario, they're not going to know where those planters are. There's no Evil Eyes or anything. And Bashed, very eagerly watching that flank, despite the Nomad being taken down. That's good. And now we take it to a 5v4 and a really strong position now for Blackmamba. I think they've perfectly read into the Homeless playstyle and setting up really nicely.
I think Bashed has been pretty effective of what he's done in the last couple of rounds.
Wow.
It's a nice nade onto ours that completely clears out the attic. I mean, I suppose he'd moved back into kids by that point, potentially. Either way, that's 1 more player down from Homeless. Reaver's going to try and catch the player on the rappel, but he gets punished for his efforts. And that gives Josh some space to move on in. Once again, we could find ourselves in a position where Nexus is hiding here in dorms and has to take it all into his own hands. Instead, he's just pushing straight on up. He knows that player's still on rappel. He knows that attic is being or having control taken. But there's the attempt at the plant. This is something that Blackmamba didn't get to before. Josh gets a kill, but Nexus is ready and waiting. He tries to get it, but it's a post-plant situation, and Blackmamba clean him up as they overwhelm him in kids. And a 4-2 half suddenly doesn't look that bad.
Definitely a good salvage for Blackmamba. They stepped up as it was needed. I think they perfectly read into the Homeless playstyle. And overall, we saw Blackmamba were really good at displacing those key positions. Attic, for example, every single time that Dorms was attacked, we saw Blackmamba find the first pick and clear out Attic without too much of a worry whatsoever. Now, Homeless, yes, they had those roamers downstairs, and honestly, I think in the 2 latter rounds there, those roamers were super ineffective. In the first time Homeless defended that bomb site, we saw that pick through the floor in Attic, through that little impact hole from, I believe it was Mexus down there. And after that point, it was Foster actually. After that point, the roamers weren't super effective. Duco on what you're calling the anti-roam downstairs found Mexus in the round before that one we just watched. And in that last round, that flank from Foster was just way too early, way too eager. Clearly there was info from the attackers. They knew he was flanking, and Bash took him down really easily. Homeless anchoring isn't their specialty, particularly on that bomb site. And so trying to hold out, especially numbers deficit, yeah, it just wasn't panning out for them.
Well, they could find that they have a better half on the attack. I mean, not that they had a bad half by any stretch of the imagination on the defense, but you mentioned that Homeless have been trying more of an anchor style of things, but Blackmamba, they've decided to bring a Mozzie. They've also got the... I nearly said Yana when I meant Malusi. Wow. As well as Jaeger too. So they likely aren't going to be playing quite as turtle, quite as close together. But, you know, are Homeless going to be more effective at dealing with that roam than Black Mamba were when they were on the attack?
Yeah, definitely going to be a point of contention. But wow, Homeless so early on, they clearly droned this, and they know that there's no extension here into elbow, so they're just going to take it for free. Mute Jammer is going to prevent that ace from detonating, but did they just... I didn't see it, but how did they destroy the Mute Jammer? What? Did it get picked up by a Skeptic? Or did they... I didn't see them, like... What? I'm so confused right now.
He hasn't got one in pocket.
No, and he didn't... Okay, the C4 comes out, finds nothing. Reba didn't open up the wall and shoot it off, which is what I thought. Maybe the Twitch got it.
That's a very good point. I missed it myself, so we'll go with that. It's Schrodinger's removal of the Mute Jammer. We'll never quite know. Either way, control has been taken from Homeless onto Blue. And there's the Goyo shield that's been removed. They can start to move into pillars now as well. A kill coming out onto Mickey. It's a good start from Homeless and looking pretty clean.
But Homeless trying to slow things down. Also, I would think. I think the fights are just coming to them. Blackmamba getting aggressive. Not working out for them. But of course, playing passive. Not likely to work either. Homeless have so much time here. Mexus finds his double. But Foster goes down. We still have smokes and hours to throw out the first one. Mexus to pull off this situation. He's going to walk through the smoke here. Josh is going to find Mexus, but Mexus finds him first. And that is a very convincing and somewhat quick round for Homeless.
Blackmamba just seemed very quick and ready to move back and give space. The second that Homeless did anything, obviously there was the early take of the elbow wall, and then you had the Goyo shield going down in pillars. Really, really quick to be able to take that. We spoke about there being roamers at the start, but they returned to site relatively quickly. They didn't try to pull off any kind of flanks. We didn't see anyone try to sneak round onto tower stairs. It was all very vanilla. And as soon as the smokes came out at the end, and you give Mexus the room to push on forward, yes, you still had a player in Freezer, but he too decided to push forward. Didn't know where the attacking player was, taken down pretty convincingly, and that seemed to be the story for basically all of those defenders.
Did you hear that? Can someone swat the bee that's buzzing around in my helmet right now?
I do hear that.
You do hear the bee? Busy little bee. Trying to get some honey, make some honeycomb. I don't know. Guess that's what bees do. Oh well, we'll swat it eventually, guys, I promise.
I've heard that rumor.
Strange choice here for Blackmamba to go kitchen dining. For most teams, it's a tertiary site. Most teams won't go unless if they absolutely have to. We saw that was the case for Homeless. When they had lost dorms, they just decided to retry dorms. But it didn't work for them. So Blackmamba... I like this. They're coming in aggressive here. Like, they started at such a deficit, but look at the gusto of Duco. He's found so many opening kills this matchup. 3, in fact. And, well, even though he doesn't find that pick, it really just tells Homeless what they're going up against here, which is a team that does want to take these gunfights, does have confidence, and Homeless, one thing we have seen from them is how quick they can be in their early round. This time, though, the drones are being met with contention. And that might slow them down a little bit. First step is, of course, to take small tower. But look at the drones dropping like flies. And, of course, the intention will be to take showers. But as there's only the ace, I expect we should be able to see the impact trick. Counter that or not? It missed. Oh, no. Duco's going to get punished for that one. Surely. See you later, mate. Sit on cams.
Yeah, that's very disappointing. You still have Mickey nearby. He's shielded by the shield and actually 3 ADS over in the showers corridor. Bashta's joined to help, but even so, the fact that you lost both the dining wall and the showers walls in such quick succession when you had 4 impacts available to you, a huge, huge misplay and a huge loss for Blackmamba there. And so... now you can see Blackmamba just trying to back off a bit, or at least bashed here up towards the white stairs, so he can try and catch someone out. He does. That's hours off the board, but the ace has already really done his job. Homeless will have to recollect the diffuser, but it's still Blackmamba sat at the disadvantage as Bashed is the next one to go down. Mickey too. Royal just cleaning up. Skeptic tries to get things back, but it looks right now like Homeless have everything in their hands. Skeptic, the one player remaining, he gets a kill, but caught in the crossfire. And Homeless take this game to match point.
What a way to do it as well. A strong 4-2 half, but the momentum was lost. Apparently they don't need momentum. They just springboard back and keep us going all the way to match point after only 2 attack rounds. And Homeless are yet to find a defense, or rather, Blackmamba are yet to find a defensive win on Oregon. They can't keep up with this aggression, this non-stop force that is Homeless. And the Polish team are definitely proving to be a formidable opponent.
And I think this is also a really huge moment for Polish Rainbow Six players. We don't have really a huge Polish representation in Europe right now. And so to see that this team is doing so well after maybe a disappointing start, but, you know, you give it to them, it was Penta, and Penta are arguably the favorites in Challenger League right now, but they're showing up and they're doing really good work, and it's so nice to see that, because this is a region that deserves to be uplifted, and that's exactly what's happening here. Homeless now only 1 round off of taking the win, and so far, as much as I hate to say it for Blackmamba, they haven't given much of a reason to suggest that it's going to be any different this round.
Great drone spot here for Hours. He spotted that rotation. You would have heard Josh. Is this going to be a T3 hold? I'm curious to see whether Homeless deal with this. I wouldn't honestly be surprised if Homeless just completely ignore it. 4 players spawning lobby side. This usually indicates a rush, but I don't know, I won't call it too early. Bashed is ready and waiting. Homeless are a team we know for this aggression, but looks like it will be a take through Armory and Master at the start. I wouldn't be surprised if they just forego at it completely.
You can see the drone peeking around the door frame, but he didn't quite spot it. All right, he's got it now. You can tell that they've invested quite a bit in trying to hold Armory, as both the Grishmot mine and the Goo mine are present in the doorway. Bash's got quite a lot of responsibility to hold this part of the map, all by himself. Just continuing to move around. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be a rush, as you maybe thought. They're all positioning themselves round on this south side. You've got Reba on the big window, and Royal also droning out. Or, well, Royal going into Armory, but it's Mexus who's droning out for him.
At the moment, Homeless are just assessing their options. They've got players posted all the way around. Multiple places on the map. Duco somehow actually finds the first kill there, but Ours refrags and more. Josh as well. What is this aggression? Okay. That's a nice couple of shots here for the Jaeger, and that suddenly flips the tables. It is a 2 versus 2 effectively here. Potentially a 2 versus 3. Should the revive come through, but it's a risky play for Mickey to go for, and Royal just wants to make this aggressive push happen.
Well, the games room wall has been opened, and Foster obviously also used his breaching rounds to open some of the soft wall in the Armory corridor as well. That puts more pressure onto Blackmamba, but Josh is still ready. Mickey's trying to join in as well. Just Foster remaining for Homeless, and he has to go up against both of these players. Finally, Bashed falls. He's been bleeding out for pretty much the entire round. But Foster's just got to use his shock drone, as that's all he has available to him, to try and find where these players are. He sees one in lower attic, trying to hold onto the angle, knowing that there's a chance of a crossfire here. He's so close to getting it, but he couldn't secure it. Mickey takes that one, and Blackmamba take the round and keep themselves in the game.
A scary round, though, for both teams. Early multi-kills on both sides led us to a 2 versus 2 effectively, with one player on the Blackmamba side downed. With a minute 20 to go, it was basically half the round had gone, and there was less than half the players still remaining in the server. But match point still remains here for Homeless, and, well, Blackmamba are the team that has to step up now. They've won their first defense, but only after trying 3 different bomb sites. They've already lost this laundry supply room bomb site once. And I'm concerned here that they might lose it again. It comes down to whether they can adapt to Homeless's early map control. We saw that blue take was just so good last time around for Homeless. They wasted absolutely no time. And really, mainly because Blackmamba had invested just about no util into it. We'll see whether they change their strategy or go for something quite similar.
Well, something interesting to note about the way the Blackmamba are playing here is they haven't brought any wall denial, and not only that, they don't have any impacts either. So one of the big problems that they faced on the defense last time was that Homeless could open the elbow wall so quickly. They took control of blue, they took control of pillar really, really fast, and that's what allowed them to push up and apply that aggression onto Blackmamba. But this time, Blackmamba don't really have much to prevent that from happening. They're placing a shield in elbow, they're going to have that aggressive position, which isn't too uncommon, but should that player get flushed out, that's a lot of room that Homeless can take without much contention.
I think it's what you got to do with Mavericks on the board here. You can't, like, there's not that much point in bringing, like, a mute, which they did bring last time, because I don't know whether it was the Twitch drone or the Maverick that dealt with it or some other godly force, but, yeah, it didn't matter in the end. Like, the Ace was able to detonate the Selmas for free. It looks like Homeless going for the exact same take. Mex is the player to drone out, spots out the Jaeger aggressive, but the drone survives. That's more important than I think a lot of people would realize. Bash is still in a good position. Really, a lot of this game has kind of been Bash versus Mexes. Both great players. The Twitch drone disabled. That's a great early position for Bash to put himself in. But okay, a really early control of elbow as well, with only 50 seconds down. And that line of sight detonates onto the elbow wall into supply.
Just trying to get the shot into box right now, but Bash does have the rotate back out and a Malusi Banshee to protect him from any incoming attackers as well. But finally, the box wall begins to get breached, and there's a C4 thrown out by Josh. He rushes forward, but meets the end of Ours' gun. And now Homeless, who are standing strong, 5 men still on the board, have control over just the 3 players remaining from Blackmamba. Skeptic tries to move forward. He's getting ready with the C4, but he doesn't know exactly where this player is. He throws it out, but it's not going to reach Ours, but he does get the kill anyway. That's a really good shot. Traded, however, and now just 2 players remaining from Blackmamba. Duco tries to get a kill. There's the first one. He secures. Can he secure any more as Homeless have to move on in?
Oh, no.
He'll get flashed out. The Smoker going forward, but it's just Mickey remaining as Duco's taken out by Mexis. He finishes it off. And after maybe just 1 round of doubt, Homeless take what looked like quite a definitive map.
Well, that is one way to end it as well. Homeless, such a fast-paced team. If you like the 20-second meta, then you will hate Homeless, because they know how to push very early on, and they kept up that pressure every second of it. Mex is copping 14 kills at the end of it. Insane individual performances, multi-kills in abundance, and that is the Polish team to take very handy victory here over Homeless. Only dropping 1 of their 4 attack rounds.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to push Homeless forward. They were already in the top 4 right now, but still looking to absolutely cement and secure their spot there and ensure they can't fall back. But Blackmamba now on 4 losses in a row. Things are looking incredibly dire for them. Regardless, it was a very good game to watch, very fun game to watch. Let's see what our analysts think.
Thanks so much, Gio and James. And just as